quite the occasion. I am very excited to have my next guest join us. She's a very talented artist, singer, and songwriter, Jessie Jo Stark.
Yay, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so appreciative and thankful to be in your presence.
Thank you. Thanks for being in the bus.
Yes, this is quite quaint, and I love how the
Yeah.
aesthetic includes these electronic candles. They're not
Yeah,
real.
these are new. These are giving us hearts on the ceiling. I basically, every time we go on tour, I always start with decorating the bus.
Oh,
So it feels like home. That's like number one.
and whenever
we
there's
start playing
decorating
shows.
involved, there's always a theme, a mood that you're
Yeah.
in that moment. How do you know that that's going to last?
I always think of a theme like before we go on tour, and then as the tour kind of like moves forward, we randomly then name the group chat, and everything kind of like falls into place. And as we, visit each city, we start like obtaining all these ridiculous things, and the theme kind of takes on a new theme. But we started with just like leopard and pink.
I could
That's
tell.
it.
I saw a few plushies on the
Yeah,
sofa
and rat
whatnot.
fink,
What is that from?
This is just like a vintage rat fink stuffed animal that I bought like a really long time ago, and I kind of collect a lot of rat fink stuff. This artist Ed Ross, so yeah.
It has a Ren and Stimpy kind of vibe.
Yeah. I love stuffed animals. They make me feel like a kid.
It's a thing. I don't know if you know, like people are collecting these axolotl plushies and,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
of it. So
I don't know if I collect, I just love.
yeah.
I
Well-
collect, but I don't like there's no guidelines. I'm just like, I like that one a lot.
Do you have a little contingent of your fan base that gives you stuffed animals?
They give me the best presents.
Yeah.
Like I'm touched by every show. I have this little Elvira Lego because I love Elvira and I love Legos. And this one girl on our last tour gave me it, and I have it in my like little crystal bag, and it brings me good luck. I think they've caught on to my little things that I like.
Well, you obviously embody that aesthetic. I mean, with your fashion and your music and the presentation and all that. Where do you think that came from early on, with your love of horror and macabre?
I ask my mom this all the time. I don't know. I really like the comedic side of horror. I don't love like the gory part. I like the light side. I love Addams Family. I love the visuals, the cinematography of it, like this kind of like, I don't know, all these like powerful women like Elvira, Morticia. I've always just been really fascinated with dressing up, and like I remember my crazy Aunt Tracy would like dress me up as like a ghost or like a scarecrow, really simple like old school things, and then slowly developed into like I was like every Halloween now I go full on and get completely done up and have a deadly doll ball, and I don't know where it comes from. I don't know.
What was the first scary costume that you wore as a kid?
Scary. I don't know if it was scary. I was just honestly, every year at school I was a skeleton.
That's not.
So, I mean, it's simple. It's
Yeah.
not scary, but it's classic. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I love like the classic part. I've never really dressed up as anything. I was the devil one time,
Oh.
but I think she was pretty hot. She wasn't that scary.
Oh, sexy devil. That was your
Yeah.
the devil
But
era.
it was full on. It
Yeah.
was full on.
And how has that kind of informed the music that you make?
I think it has in a way. I've never really understood what my genre is, and I named it Horrific Hillbilly because I grew up on country and I grew up on punk, and I love like horror and all these things, and so I kind of like made my own genre name, and it's definitely influenced my visuals, like for sure. But I don't know. I just
Horrific hillbilly.
Yeah.
I think of that. I think of like some country music, but then kind of like infusing some of the, Friday the 13th and
Yeah.
scary movie type of vibes.
It was cool too when you're young, you know what I mean? Like to like, or younger, to go and like, I would always sneak out and try to like find the scariest movie in theaters. You know what I mean? And that's just like, it just became like something to do.
I heard that you were thinking about country music, and a lot of people have dipped their toe in, or like Beyonce released a full-on project in
Yeah.
country. What is it about country, especially now, that seems to be resonating and something that is interesting to you?
I grew up on country music. I don't think it's a new thing for me. I've covered country tunes since I was a little girl. One of the first songs I ever covered was a Merle Haggard song. It's not new to me. My dad played it every morning. It's where my, like that level of songwriting is, honestly, my voice really sits well in that pocket. I've been told by everyone to do a country album since I was little, and I think I always rebelled against it for some reason. And now I'm ready to release a lot of the songs that have already been written really like throughout the years. I don't know if I would say like this is country because I don't know. I feel like unless you're like Linda Ronstadt or Dolly, you're not really country, or you're like actually a country girl. I don't, genres are hard for me, but I in general love country, and whatever my version of that is will be my next project for sure.
Country music is very intimate as well.
Yeah.
And you said there's an accumulation of songs. How far along are you in selecting these songs? And then also, what is there a snapshot of time in which you wrote these songs in?
Oh my God, a couple of them I wrote like 7 years ago. It's just kind of, it's funny. I think, you know, obviously everything I've been through the last year has just it gets you to the place where you're like almost ready for that project, even if you've been sitting on it. You know, just because you write something doesn't mean you're ready to share it. I feel like I arrive at songs that I've written in the past, like almost like way after they've been written all the time. It happens a lot. A lot of the songs I released on my last album had been written like 10 years prior. So, but yeah.
That must be very interesting for you to share these songs, which are these snapshots of your feelings at that particular moment, and maybe it's anger, sadness, happiness, whatever it may be, and to revisit those emotions and then to perform those on a consistent basis.
Yeah. It's so interesting though to revisit a feeling, because it might not mean what it did when you wrote it, but it almost, they're still your words and thoughts, so they almost they still mean something, but they might now just lend to a different person or a different experience. It's just like not about that.
Yeah.
But they still count for something because they came out of you. You know?
People always say, songwriters especially, how songwriting is a cathartic process and release of feelings.
Yeah.
And to be able to put it out in the world and share it is another process as well. How do you grapple with those feelings and be able to sit on this type of material without having it sharing it with the world?
I'm just not really good at communicating. I don't, the explaining the song after I wrote the song is the hardest part. So for me, writing the song is like a release of energy. You know, you're creating something that didn't exist. It's like a pleasure. For someone to listen to it is just like a luxury to me. It's like, it's shocking even when someone comes up there and they know a song I put out 10 years ago. It's like, it's so beautiful, that exchange, that because I know what it's like to listen to music and really take from it. But I wouldn't know what to do without writing. You know, at first I didn't think I could write when I was a little girl, and then to be able to express myself in that capacity is just like, I'm really grateful for that, because I don't really love to communicate that much. It's hard, it's vulnerable. Music is easier for me. I really I do it for the art of it. You know, I don't do it for any other reason. Like, I'm just on my own page and I make what I like, and it's just cool that some people like it.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
the way it should be, right? I think that's the whole thing right now with TikTok commercializing and here today, gone tomorrow type of vibe. You want to try to write songs and create art that's timeless.
100%.
Yeah.
So important.
Well, with this country project, I don't know, what did you say, hillbilly?
Horrific hillbilly.
Horrific hillbilly
Yeah.
album project. What's the timeline? How far
I don't know. I was joking with my band the other day. I was like, I think I have the country album on my notepad. And they're like, I think you do. But I want to re-record some of the songs. And we actually have a setup here. We just started, this is our first show tonight with the Veronicas. And we're going to record the next 30 days together, which we haven't done before as a band on the road. So you never know what's going to come. It's like, right now I'm just really inspired to write. And so I don't know, I might write a whole album the next month. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I've got the album already.
That's awesome.
If I wanted to.
That is awesome to hear.
Yeah.
That's really awesome to hear, because I think that art takes time. You can't rush art.
No.
And
But you don't want to sit on it too long.
But yes.
They always say that when I put out my first album, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the next. But the first album was painful because you have this idea of what it's supposed to be. It's like a little capsule collection, and then you're screwed once it's out. But like, that's all silly, and now I'm ready for the next album.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Happy early birthday.
Sick way to kick it off.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate the time.
Of course.
It's Jesse Joe Stark right here on B-Sides.